What is the most porn-like scenario moment you've experienced? The girl I met on Tinder messaged me if I could help her out with her computer problem. I went to her apartment and there was no problem with her PC. When I was a cable/internet tech, I had a couple middle-aged ladies leave the room and enter again in a bathrobe or their underwear. Never the type you'd actually want to bang, unfortunately. In college, my friends and I were chilling, drinking, smoking some weed, and playing Cards Against Humanity. There were 7 of us, 4 guys, 3 girls. The dude whose place we were at went to bed and said just lock the door on our way out. A little later we started talking about massages. I don't know who, but someone suggested we do a massage train on the dude's sofa. We line up, I'm at the back, and alternate guy-girl with everyone sitting in the person behind them's lap. We were all high or drunk, except this one girl. Really thinking about it, that felt like we were about to burst into an orgy at any given point, considering how much sexual tension there was in that room, all horny 20 years f***ed up rubbing each other. In the end, someone ended up getting fingered while it was happening. I have worked construction a long time and this one goes back at least 12 years now. I had gotten off work early because it was summer and we did a roof rather quickly and started early that day. I returned home and my then girlfriend was sleeping, or so I thought. I dropped my pants and tool belt and went to the shower. When I walked back from the shower, she was waiting for me wearing nothing but my tool belt and a hard hat. It was both hilarious and sexy. I was teaching a college course and a girl who had missed most of the course walked into my office. There must be something I can do to pass. Sorry, no. She left. The cashier at Subway reached over to pull a thread off my shirt. I told her I thought she was gonna grab my I'm a guy. If you let me touch yours, I'll let you touch mine. She blushed really hard and I laughed. But I'm faithful, so I didn't chase it. Was on the New York City subway late at night and there was just me and this young couple in our car. After the train started moving again, the dude took his pants off and his girl started giving him a blowjob. Was trying to look away, but every now and then I'd glance over and noticed they would both be staring at me. I work for a furniture delivery company and was told to go see what was wrong with this woman's furniture. My partner and I get there and the house has about 12 guys working on it from the outside. When we find a way inside, I'm greeted by a really cute girl who I learn is from Brazil. She's a gorgeous woman with a cute accent who tries to explain the situation, but her English is just okay. It's a sectional and turns out the previous guys didn't attach it. Takes me and my guy about 3 minutes to get the job done, all the while me and the Brazilian girl were being very friendly, borderline flirting with each other. I thought nothing of it because it's normal to be friendly when receiving a service. After we finish up, I have her sign my paperwork and she says wait. She then grabs my hand and leads me to the basement door. She goes down the steps and I ask should I follow. She says yes. My partner looks at me, I look at him, then he gives me a pat on the shoulder and says I'll be in the truck. I head downstairs thinking she must need something moved because I don't have great luck and this world been the luckiest thing to happen to me in my adult life. When I get to the dimly lit room, she's in there waiting. It's just a bed and a nightstand. Now all my doubt goes out the window. She's looking through the nightstand for what I presumed was a condom, but turned around with two $20 bills and said tip. Worked with a girl whose car broke down. She lived near me, so I offered her a ride home. When we got there, she said thanks for the ride. I guess I owe you, so may I? And pointed at my crotch. I said yes, and she took my dick out and blew me. After that we would take our lunch breaks together, and she would blow me in my car every day. No other kind of relationship except every now and then she would hit me up to smoke weed and I miss her a lot. Got invited to a Tinder girl's place after no more than 10 minutes of chat. Arrived half expecting to get mugged. She opened up wearing a silky gown and lingerie and poured me a drink and just started to dance slowly and strip in front of me. One of the hottest moments in my life. Learned a few days later she works as an escort, but didn't make it any less hot. Banged her a few more times after that too. It was super hot each time. No regrets. My first ever one night stand was after a college party where we were both very drunk. completely consensual, but when we woke up in the morning she didn't really remember it super well. She remembered that we had sex and all, but didn't fully remember the experience. Her roommate was up getting ready for class, and the girl I was with was like rushing her out of the room, which I found odd. Frankly, I thought I'd be the one getting rushed out. Her roommate leaves, and she gets on top of me. First time I've seen her naked in the light, and goes, "Let's do it again, so I can remember how your d feels inside me." Never had a girl say anything like that to me before, and honestly not, since I don't think. The first time I got a blowjob the girl I was with swallowed, and I thought it was amazing. The next time I got one with a different girl, she pulled my d out of her mouth, just as I was coming, and I busted all over her face. It was even hotter seeing her face covered in my cum. I married her. When I did pest control, I showed up at a house in the rich part of town to do my bug guy thing. Turns out, the college-age daughter of the homie owners was having spring break with all of her volleyball teammates that particular day in the massive pool out back. Nothing happened, but a group of bikini-clad college volleyball players did answer the door, and I did get offered a beer. So there's that. I went onto a cruise back a few years ago. I went to the back pool to lounge and get a tan. I was really looking at butts. Sue me, I was young. I lied down, and about 5 minutes later a mid-30s blonde lady came over and sat her books down beside me. Didn't think much of it and kept tanning. A few minutes later she struck up a conversation about what she was reading, and we got into the topic of her kid, who was only a couple years younger than me. We talked for about an hour and really got into some heavy stuff until she got onto the topic of shopping and her addiction to buying glasses, to which she invited me back to her room to check them out. I declined as I was late for my lunch with my mother and she had texted me. I realized about 4 months after that she was hitting on me. Close street thing I can think of to a porno-like scenario. Walking into a convenience store and a great looking lady and her equally hot friend asked me back to their house for a three-way. I had been married for about 3 months and my wife was sitting in the car waiting for me. She said, "What did those girls want?" I said, "Directions." Riding the school bus home one afternoon, and I noticed the kinda cute punk rock Asian chick in the seat across from me. I had noticed her a couple of times, but we never spoke or even acknowledged each other. Anyways, she was clearly allowing me to look up her skirt by the way she was sitting, and kept repositioning herself, so it was obvious what she was doing. I start talking to her, and she decides to get off with me at my stop, even though she lived in the neighborhood next to me. I told her I would walk her home. Lost my virginity, and got my first BJ that day. Prior to that I had known the girl for less than 30 minutes. 8 years later me and some friends are drunk, and decide to hit up a strip club. I walk in, go to the bar, and as soon as I get my drink in my hand, guess who pops up next to me? It was her. She saw me come in and instantly recognized me. So now here I'm hammered at 2 AM sitting at the bar as she shows me a picture of her son, and which stage she'll be dancing on in about 10 minutes. She also demanded that I give her my cell number. Life's a hell of a ride. Was seeing this hot redhead for a few weeks. We went to a concert, outdoors. It started to rain, so we ran back to my car and went back to her place. We strip down and throw our clothes in the dryer and decide to take a shower. Tub as a clawfoot. I pick her up and f her against the wall and move the tub off the wall. Afterwards we have towels wrapped around us, small talking in her bedroom, and the tension sexually is still there, so I pull her onto the bed and we go another round. Clothes eventually dry, so we go out and meet a group of her friends for drinks. Come back that night and she goes down on me and I return the favor, and then round 3. Man, she was fun. She got weird though. Ghosted me, moved away, came back like 6 months later and wanted to meet up like nothing ever occurred. I passed. I was on a flight from Florida to Ohio one night and a woman across the aisle from me in the last row of a Delta flight flashed me. Then she yelled over the engine whine, "Hey, you didn't tell me how you liked my t-" Without missing a beat I said, "I forget what they look like." She flashed me again, and then we sat next to each other chatting the rest of the flight. Chatting. I went to a friend's birthday party when I was 17. I couldn't go home that night because it was the snowstorm of the year, but I knew the birthday boy well enough to just crash on his couch. Some other people that I didn't know too well also had to stay the night. Fast forward to 3 AM. I'm on the couch in the corner, uncomfortable AF, trying to sleep, but I was total f***ing night owl at that age. So I was just pretending to sleep, hoping that sleep would eventually come to me. On the floor are two girls that I sort of know. One is the younger sister of girl I went to high school and public school with. The other I became better friends with sometime after the party. They are both 2 years younger than birthday boy and myself, so naturally I expected them to be on the innocent side of shit. Holy f**k, I was wrong. These girls had been glued to each other pretty much all night. But when 3 AM came and I thought everyone was asleep, turns out they weren't. I only noticed because they started to obnoxiously maquillate. Like, so sloppy that it was beyond the level of French. They spent at least 5 minutes smacking before daintily getting up, while holding hands, and moving to the basement. Now, the couch is right next to the basement stairs. The stairs aren't standard, but an open concept, and they didn't close the door. Based on how loud they were, I knew exactly where they were in the basement. Their moans were so out of control that it felt like I was laying next to them. It was really intimate. They were so incredibly detailed. You could even tell when they came. When they came back up, they went straight into the bathroom to clean up. Eventually they settled in for the night, and I was finally granted some sleep. Later, after they both left in the morning, I told birthday boy what I listened to unwillingly the night before, and he lost it. He thought it was hilarious and I agree, it was pretty hilarious.